A slope graph is a great example when we have data that we want to show two different states for, say before and after, or in this case, I have ranking data. I think this works really well with this type of graph. It has data on different topics in the media and what people say they want versus what they actually read. To make a slope graph with this, we will go ahead and use the connect command. This command lets us specify both where we want things to go as just an integer value. So my x is going to be going from 0 to 1 for all the categories, but the y values will actually be the ranks themselves, the say what they want versus the actually read. And nice, there is my foundation for my slope graph, where every category is connected on either side. Let me bump up the size on these a little just so you can hopefully really see this better. And the couple of things that I need to do here, first of all, notice that this starts at 0 and goes up. This is the way our Cartesian coordinate grid goes, but I want to reverse the y-axis, so 1 is at the top. The other thing I'm going to need to do here is add my categories on each side. First, let's go ahead and actually go into the margins and set a margin on both sides that's going to let me have enough room to place my labels on each of them. Also, I can remove the padding on the x-axis so that those go to the, everything goes all the way out to the edges. And to change what's labeled on the axis settings, I can do that with my tick mark labels, change that to labels. And again, the location, not the row number, but change this to the rank. And then the topic itself is the title on that axis. Nice. Now to do the other side, there's actually a command called an extra axis command that allows us to place an axis also on the y-axis. We'll put this over to the right. And with this has the same settings as the basic axis command, also lets us change this to labels, where again, we're going to use the ranking now on the right-hand side, and my labels will be my topic. Now, this is really starting to shape up. I'm not going to draw any numbers on my x-axis, so now I can see that national security is not as high on what people say they want to read about, but it's the number one thing that people do read about, as well as politics, sports. But to really have this pop, your pro tip here is to take this one step further, because I've set up a couple of things also in this file where I have a few more columns that have some values calculated, looking at the difference between one and the other, the direction they go in, is it up or down or just stays the same, and the magnitude of that direction. I also have a color scheme that I set up here to have different colors depending on whether it was higher or lower in terms of what people actually read. So let's go ahead and let me show you how I can use this within the connect command. Many of the commands have these options to change things like colors based on something that's in a variable in a table, and here we'll use direction. So now I have a different color depending on whether something's going up or down. This in and of itself, I think, really helps to pop the things that are going up versus down. I can go one step further though, and I could also use the width to have the width of that line change depending on the magnitude of whether direction is up or down. So here you see in particular sports has the biggest change, being what people say they are interested the least in, but is one of the top 3 things that people actually read. This was your quick introduction to doing a slope graph in DataGraph.